So I want to take a couple of moments to talk about the right way to handle a situation and the wrong way. We've spoken about the wrong way a little bit in recent weeks with Rob Liefeld, and I want to take a couple of moments to talk about the right way to handle a situation. If you want to know what I'm talking about, stay tuned to the video. Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my videos. So this video is not a condemnation of anyone, so much as it is me trying to follow up on a previous video that I did on Rob Liefeld and contrasting how he handled that situation to a similar situation that someone else had that I thought was handled so much better than how Rob did it. And Rob is his own person. Rob is entitled to handle his situations any way that he wants. But I think whenever you point out that someone's done something wrong, I think it's always helpful to contrast it to maybe someone that did it better or different than that original example. And so that's what I want to talk about just a little bit in this video. So some of you may have seen that video. Some of you may have heard the controversies around Major X, but I want to revisit that for just a couple of seconds. So essentially what happened was that Rob Liefeld created a character called Major X that was going to have an appearance in Major X #1. And he was on his website selling some exclusive variants that were signed. And there were packages that ranged from $99 up to like $130, $120, something like that. And what ended up happening was that another creator saw Rob's artwork around Major X and in his own book decided that he was going to use that character as like a background character in a book that he was working on. And he did it because he thought the Major X character was pretty cool. So that's why he did it. Somehow or another, through distribution or whatever means, that book that creator worked on ended up being released before Major X. And there was a lot of controversy around what is the true first appearance of Major X. Was it this book where he had like a cameo appearance and was drawn by another creator? Or was it Major X #1 being drawn by Rob Liefeld? And Rob didn't handle the situation all that well. He calls it a clown move, saying that he expected something like this to happen, etc., etc. If you really want to know all the details, you can go back and watch this other video because a lot of the details are in there. But at the end of the day, Rob didn't necessarily handle that situation very well. He ended up blocking people on the internet. He ended up making some statements around he will never sign a copy of that other book because the real true first appearance of Major X is Major X #1. So that's, in my opinion, a not so good way to handle a situation, right? Now you contrast that to what happened recently with Brian Michael Bendis, who has created with another person a character by the name of Naomi. And Naomi had her first appearance in Naomi #1. Imagine that. But what happened recently was that I guess somehow Naomi has some kind of background with Superman that is yet to be revealed. And I think Brian Michael Bendis is in the process of explaining the connection between Naomi and Superman. But what happened was prior to Naomi #1 coming out, there was another book, a Superman book, I believe, that was actually published featuring Superman and a little black girl. And the idea was that that little black girl on the cover of the Superman magazine was actually the first appearance of Naomi. And people were beginning to speculate on that other book, saying that that was the first appearance of Naomi. And so for his part, what Brian Bendis actually did was he went on the internet, on Twitter, and basically said, that is not the first appearance of Naomi. The first appearance is Naomi #1. All will be revealed in future issues to establish her connection to Superman. That was it. That was the end of his statements. There was no lashing out. There was no blocking of people. There was no comments around clown moves. There was no speaking out against the other creator that drew that supposed Naomi. There was none of that. And it very quickly, in my opinion, laid to rest the notion that this other book was actually the first appearance of Naomi. It was very clear to me from his emphatic statements that Naomi #1 was the first appearance. And that was the end of the controversy. it really never got started because he made a declarative, definitive statement about what was what. And there was no backlash, there was no outroar, there was no lashing out. That's the way that you handle situations. This other, not so much. But again, this is not me saying that Liefeld is wrong. It's simply saying that there are better ways to handle situations that don't involve taking it out on fans by blocking them on Twitter and lashing out at them for saying things that you don't necessarily agree with. And at the end of the day, you'll decide what the truth is and who had the better means of handling this situation. So as always, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, I definitely want to encourage you to do so. And I am absolutely looking forward to reading you all's comments and thoughts on these two situations in the comments section. If you need to reach out to me, feel free to do so at RegieCollects@gmail.com and RegieCollects on Instagram. Take care.